happens. I don't know. Hopefully it was good.
Yeah.
Wait, can we let's just, we'll take it back, just like
Sure.
give one last sentence and then say what you said
Okay.
again, the connecting it.
So just to recap.
Yeah, so to recap, so this idea of failure to success, I said a lot of points about measuring stick and many things I can't all repeat in short, but the main clear point is that if you're looking for this unity flow in your overall life, this inspired flow, Janglo inspired, we're looking for something inspirational, we are able to draw out from every challenge, every obstacle, every divisiveness, the opposite or the level that rises above that challenge. For example, there's a unity flow that you can still respect everyone, still be inclusive as much as possible, but at the same time create events, create music, create online content that is relatable and universal. And that can give an ability for us to all communicate on a higher level. And I think there is a massive need for it, because you just mentioned about online, it seems like there's become a massive increase of loneliness or I don't know what the word is, but divisiveness is a specific word.
We're all connected,
Segregation,
but we're really disconnected.
or people are like in their feeds are only seeing one side of the story, like politically or whatever it is. To be able to create events that are unifying and get us out of our personal space into a private space that's safe and positive for everyone to be there. And I think online there's opportunities to create safe spaces where there's mutual respect and there's rules to monitor that and make it work. And then there's also in the venues and the events we're going to try to plan and the communal rules that are around to try to respect the communities and respect what they want and how they want to go about it, and to work together to try in a determined way. As I mentioned to you, I'm very persistent and very determined. You have to really want it. And if I'd asked like my uncle, how was he able to manage some of the biggest stars in history, and create the biggest events in history? It was that, one, he was very truthful, he told me, to the artists, to the creatives, to the people involved. I'll be straight with you, about what needs to improve. And sometimes that can be very difficult. I'll say that that's a challenge I'm still working on, because some of the artists and creators don't always want to hear the constructive advice, because maybe their ego, or maybe they disagree, or so you've got to find a way that they can understand on their level and what they're in, that they have a vessel to internalize that point. But also, there's also not just being truthful, there's also this concept of being really determined to give up of your time for these projects. And that needs support from your wife, from your family around you, and that takes a lot of investment the other way that you should. And I don't know if everyone gets this right in the music entertainment unity world of events and creativity, to be able to constantly balance out that you should still be a good father or a good husband or a good relationship person, that it shouldn't be a conflict of interests, like you said about this. Online there's a lot of counterintuitive experiences but that's the whole point, that if you're really determined about your mission statement and what your goals are, then you should know that online you're also going to maintain that standard. You're not going to get
the noise.
you're not going to get caught up in arguing with people online or political discussions that are just going nowhere. You're going to keep yourself focused, that the content is positive, the content is unifying, and it hasn't brought me success doing that, honestly. Like in a numbers game. What works on a numbers game is being controversial, making
loud statements,
not so trustworthy posting, and I've had those falls myself. I would say they were my failures when I didn't live up to my value system. I wasn't trustworthy on certain things I did in the past because I posted something that I knew deep down that person didn't want. Like some famous musician didn't want that posted, but I had the video, I had the post. It was a
it might have been a short-term win,
long term. It lost that person's trust, and it's only years later I've had to rebuild that trust. And maybe in some ways you never rebuild it fully. So that's why it's very important before you think about your social media gains that you try and cover all your bases, be as much open as possible, more disclosure to the people what you're doing. Just be very straight with people what you're trying to do. And when you have those moments where you think, I'll just shortcut it and make some short-term success, usually that's not going to work. So really always go for the long term, which is real relationships. Build those real relationships. And if you've done something wrong, own up to it, apologize. I remember I had a Yom Kippur. The whole Yom Kippur was literally just praying on this incident. like forget about all the other things I needed to, clean up, because it's a cleaning process, Yom Kippur. It's not something negative. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen Yishai Ribu's new song, but Yishai Ribo, his new song is so amazing of the Seder Avoda of Kohanim of Yom Kippur. You see how the new music, or like Zusha's new music, are very artistic, or there's such ability. And I have a new artist, Otza, really love his music. Just music is very artistic, very creative, and it takes you into another world and that's really what prayer, like Rav Shagfai Mendelovich once said a long time ago. It was just as Yotzah yesterday. He was the Mashgiach of Torah B'das, and a lot of my rabbis came out of there. He said that prayer is this idea of thinking about this world of praying or speaking out about this world of truth that truly exists, but it's all, you have to use your imagination, your creative aspects to develop that. You have to build this vision of what the Beis Hamikdash, what unity, what an ultimate unity event looks like, to then pray for it. You have to paint this image in your mind of what Shalom Bayis, what happy families, what successful business, what success you have to and then pray for that.
So you visualize it, speak it
exactly.
out, and then you act it out.
Exactly, and then it becomes reality. The more you pray and more you think about it. Like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, they said he was always there in the Beis Hamikdash. His mind was always in that world because he knew it. And there's numerous proofs of his different people that came to meet with him, how he was always in that world of truth and in his mind of the true picture of what the world should look like. And now it's just a matter of how we bring all the pieces together. So that's really like this ultimate vision of mankind can drive us in our daily life. And when we start to see we're falling short of that ourselves, that's really where the failures are that we need to fix quickly. And that's the larger picture of our journey. Like, what is your media content going to do for the Jewish people and the world to make it a better world if you care about that? Like, what's going to be your larger goal? And that's going to fuel you on a whole deeper level than just, do I survive? Do I pay my bills? All that needs to be taken care of as well. Yeah, all the contract stuff, and you need to do things professionally and straight and be consistent, and different business values, which I'm happy to talk about. I've done consulting and I'm happy to do that for people. You have to do that, and I've got a lot to learn myself. But the idea is that you have to have those foundations in the practical sense, but you also have to have the larger vision of it, and that will give it a whole different lift. So then, even if it gets difficult, and it does, honestly, like I've had years where there's not much going on, and social media, when I was at the beginning and the last few years, it was like, how long am I going to be at like this level online and this thing? So you start to feel a little bit frustrated, and so what you have to do, in my opinion, is just keep going ahead, keep finding new innovative ways to put the content out. Podcasting's now become very big. There's different online resources that we have, Instagram, and Instagram's constantly developing. Pay attention to the developments. Keep yourself in with what's in. I don't think I can be a Snapchat guy. I don't think I can be at the level of young teenagers, honestly. Just like miss that boat. You can't always be what you're not. But maybe then work with someone who is. Like you have to like
use the tools, but keep the vision steady.
Yeah.
The tools are always changing.
Yeah.
How to reach the people.
Yeah, and like the people, thank God, who are successful are communicating, like Rabbi Sachs, and they know how to communicate to a large audience. And in the Jewish world, there's so much room now. We're becoming more public, more and more public. How do we now communicate it that it's a positive message, that it's a true message, and it's consistent with our mission in the world as a Jewish people? How do we communicate that, and how do we unify it, that there's some sort of one unified voice of what we represent? At least on some basic, like clear, simple values.
The essence.
The essence.
The essence.
Yeah, so I think all the different media people have that opportunity to add to that universal voice of the Jewish people rather than make it so divisive. I don't think anyone long term is going to gain. It's all just short term, defeatism mindset. It's not optimistic, it's not the larger picture. And I'd like the world to wake up on that. And the Jewish world to wake up on that larger picture way of viewing things. And thank God there are people out there who are putting it out in a professional way. Like I said, Rabbi Huawei Jacobson, also Moshe Weinberg. There's a long list of rabbis. And like I said, Rabbi Shalom Arush, in the concept of Emunah, is the most clear and the most written. He's written the most amount of works about it, that anyone can just pick up one of his books on any area, and the God Emunah series, and just gain from how to have Emunah in their specific thing that they're having challenge with, and the overall picture of what Emunah adds to your life. And I think it's something which is a growing movement in the world whether it's Rav Arush or the concepts of Emunah are growing. Everyone needs to have some basic intrinsic faith in themselves, faith in a higher force, like the whole 12 steps world needs that. It's part of the reality of the whole, well-being world, of mindfulness. Everyone needs this foundation of Emunah, of something, a belief in something beyond yourself, and a soul, and a universal force that binds us all together. And I think everyone can agree on that. So once again, that will be, back to your question with the success.
All right. Just you gotta press.
Sure.
And then you're gonna continue from back to your question.
Sure.